Welcome back to Pokemon Episode Summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 446, Talking a Good Game. The episode begins with Ash and Pikachu running by a river to prepare themselves for the frontier brain of the Battle Tower. It was the next day after the last episode, and Ash and the gang had got a good rest, and they were now in their training stage before the Battle Tower. Ash was able to motivate himself to continue running as he looked at the beautiful river and thought about himself winning his 6th Battle Frontier symbol, the second last one. Suddenly, though, Pikachu stopped moving as it sensed something. Ash wondered what Pikachu sensed, when suddenly, what Pikachu sensed emerged from the bushes, revealing itself. It was a Beedrill. The Beedrill seemed to be disturbed by Ash and Pikachu running, so it chased after Ash and Pikachu, closing in on them, wanting to attack. Ash and Pikachu tried to get away, but Beedrill was too fast. Suddenly, though, a girl who Ash would find out was named Annabelle appeared, and Annabelle manages to stop Beedrill from attacking Ash and Pikachu by talking to it, essentially telling it not to view humans as a threat, although Beedrill revealed that it was just trying to protect its offspring. Annabelle turned to Ash, revealing this to him, as Beedrill's offspring, which were 2 Weedle, popped out of some bushes, along with the Beedrill's wife. Annabelle could point out where exactly the 2 Weedle and the Beedrill were going to come out from, which shocked Ash at the fact that Annabelle was able to talk to and sense Pokemon locations. Even Pikachu was surprised too. Annabelle then made a deal with the Beedrill, requesting that if Ash apologized to it, then Beedrill would leave her and Ash alone, since they weren't of any threat. And Beedrill agreed, apparently, so Ash apologized to it, and it went back into the bushes with its family. Annabelle then starts talking to Pikachu, and Pikachu reacts happily, indicating to Ash that Annabelle really could talk to Pokemon, and he was kind of disappointed in himself that he couldn't understand Pokemon, but Annabelle could. Although Annabelle clarified that she couldn't actually understand Pikachu, she was just sensing its feelings. Ash then introduced himself to Annabelle, and Annabelle was about to introduce herself, but just then, a Gyarados interrupts her, bursting out of a nearby body of water, and Gyarados immediately tried to attack Ash and Annabelle, but Annabelle tried to calm it, just like she had the Beedrill. Ash simply just wanted to battle with it so that he could deal with it right away, but Annabelle stopped him, jumping in front of him and extending her arms, shocking Ash and Pikachu as to why Annabelle was wasting her time, because even they didn't think Annabelle could get through to Gyarados, but Annabelle asked Gyarados why the fuck he was so rude and bitchy. And after asking this, Annabelle was able to sense that Gyarados was wounded, and saw that there was a stick lodged between Gyarados' scales, so Annabelle took action and removed the stick, and tossed it to the ground. Sure enough, Gyarados being injured was what was making it bitchy, so now that stick was gone, Gyarados roared out in happiness, thanking Annabelle as it went back into the water, off into the opposite direction. Meanwhile, as for Team Rocket, they were spying on Ash, Annabelle, Pikachu, and the Gyarados as it swam away from some bushes. James and Meowth were mostly interested in Annabelle's skills of being able to sense Pokemon and care for them because of it, but Jessie, on the other hand, was more focused on Pikachu and scolded Meowth and James for focusing on anything other than that, which in turn made James mad. Meanwhile, back with Ash and Annabelle, Annabelle had taken an interest in Pikachu after reading it before, so Annabelle, Ash, and Pikachu all sat on the shore while Pikachu introduced himself to Annabelle, and after sensing Pikachu's happiness, Annabelle remarked that he and Ash made a pretty good fucking team, and they had a strong bond. That was evident. Yeah, I think we know that already, Annabelle. Anyways, Ash and Annabelle were then startled as a noise could be heard in the distance. This noise was Team Rocket's Meowth balloon approaching, and Meowth pressing a remote control to fire off a net, which captured both Annabelle and Pikachu inside. Team Rocket then introduced themselves, doing their motto as per usual, although they were shocked to see that they had caught Annabelle, as that wasn't their intention. At first, they just thought that they took Pikachu, but when Ash demanded that Pikachu and Annabelle be released from the net, Team Rocket was shocked to see Annabelle, simply claiming that they would free Annabelle once they got to their boss's HQ to deliver Pikachu, declaring that finally, after all this time, they finally would bring Pikachu to him. Team Rocket then cheered as the Meowth balloon started to float the fuck away into the distance, but before Team Rocket could escape, Ash sent out his Corphish and told it to use a bubble beam to cut the net attached to Team Rocket's balloon, freeing Annabelle and Pikachu. Unfortunately though, not everything was good, because Annabelle and Pikachu both fell into the water and were about to drown. However, Ash dove into the water and swam towards Pikachu, who were trying their best to stay afloat, with Annabelle holding on to Pikachu, but they weren't having much luck. As for Team Rocket, they had decided to wait a little bit, since they saw that the destroyed net had landed inside of the water, and they figured that they could just use a claw to pull the net back up in case some water Pokemon swam in the water and happened to get entangled inside it. Basically, they thought they might as well try and catch some water Pokemon, at least. But Ash and Corphish made their way over to Annabelle and Pikachu and helped them get back to shore. And Team Rocket didn't like this because, they didn't want to lose their chance at getting Pikachu while it was still vulnerable, almost drowning. So they decided to land their Meowth balloon, as both Ash and Annabelle made sure that they were not injured, as Jessie then sent out her Swiper to try and steal Pikachu back, telling it to attack with Poison Tail on Ash to make him drop Pikachu. And sure enough, this Poison Tail from Swiper hits Ash straight on the back. But just then, May, Max, and Brock arrive, which wiped the excitement off of Team Rocket's face. They were very excited to be winning against Ash and Annabelle, but now they weren't. So James sent out Cacnea before Brock and May or Max could do anything about it. So, in retaliation, while Cacnea was hugging James, prickling him, as usual, Annabelle took advantage of what Cacnea was currently doing to James, sending out her Alakazam to help. So it was technically Pikachu, Corphish, and Alakazam versus Viper and Cacnea now. Eventually, Cacnea stopped hugging James and used a pin missile at Ash and Annabelle and Pikachu and Corphish, but despite Annabelle still being in the water, she told Alakazam to divert the pin missile's course with a psychic attack, which made all the pin missiles land around Team Rocket, and almost hit them, as opposed to Annabelle and Ash. Amazing May, Max, and Brock, who were seeing Annabelle's skills for the first time. Alakazam then lifted Ash and Annabelle out of the water and onto shore with its psychic power, before coming out of the water itself. Ash and Annabelle then make sure that they were each okay, while Team Rocket get immensely angry at the Alakazam's power and try to take it out, with Viper going to use a bite attack and Cacnea going to use Needle Arm after Jesse and James corner Ash and Annabelle. But in retaliation, Annabelle has her Alakazam use a Psybeam, which hits both Cacnea and Viper at the same time and makes them attack each other in a state of confusion, effectively making Team Rocket surprised as fuck, and May, Max, and Brock even more amazed. With Cacnea and Viper now unable to do jack shit, Ash told Pikachu to finish Team Rocket off, and Pikachu was ready, as it blasted Team Rocket off with a good old Thunderbolt. Annabelle then thanks Ash for his help in the battle with her Alakazam, also standing next to Pikachu and congratulating it, as Wobbuffet actually blasts off last, a bit after Team Rocket. Brock, May, and Max then come running up to Ash, and May, along with Annabelle, observe that Ash had gotten a cold from being in the water for too long, so Annabelle advises that Ash and his friends come to her place to rest. A sick Ash, as well as Brock, May, and Max, agreed to this and headed off to Annabelle's place, where they started to rest up after what had happened during the battle, with Ash taking off his vest and hat to dry them off, going to the fireplace that was currently lit to do so, leading Ash to wonder why the fuck Annabelle wasn't changing her clothes right now. Although he soon came to the conclusion that maybe Annabelle was just shy to change in front of May, since May was a girl, and he thought that Annabelle was a guy, although much to not only Ash but also May, Brock, and Max's shock, Annabelle revealed herself as a girl. I don't know why they were so shocked by this, but anyways, May, Max, and Brock finally introduced themselves to Annabelle in return, and Max apologized to Annabelle for thinking that she was a dude. Annabelle quickly changes the subject by inviting Ash and the gang to sit at her table to enjoy some tea, and they do once Annabelle personally prepared the tea. After Ash and the gang had thanked Annabelle for the tea, Ash revealed to Max, Brock, and May, especially Max, because he felt like he would be the most amazed by this, that Annabelle could talk with Pokemon. Although Annabelle reminded Ash that she couldn't talk to a Pokemon, she could sense what they felt, along with how strong a trainer's bond with their Pokemon was, clarifying that when she saw Ash shield Pikachu from Viper's Poison Tail, it only confirmed to her even more that Ash and Pikachu had an immensely strong bond. And Annabelle came to the conclusion that Ash must have saved Pikachu all the time. And we see a flashback of Ash shielding Pikachu from Poison Tail earlier on in the episode. Because back when Ash got hit by the Poison Tail, it was originally going to hit him and Pikachu, but Ash jumped in the way to take more of the damage. Brock then reminded Ash of the time and told Ash that he should probably go to the Battle Tower to challenge the Frontier Brain there, leaving Annabelle to try and say something, but Ash was quick to interrupt Annabelle and said that he had to go immediately, unfortunately, to challenge the Frontier Brain of the Battle Tower, and he couldn't listen to what he had to say, what she had to say, and Brock, May, and Max followed. So everyone had left Annabelle's house before Annabelle could say what she was going to say, which was that she was actually the Frontier Brain of the Battle Tower. Anyways, after leaving their cups of tea and Annabelle at Annabelle's house, Ash arrived at the Battle Tower, eager to battle the Frontier Brain. Although Ash, along with his friends, were shocked when they didn't see Scott around, because Scott was always around during these Battle Frontier battle episodes. But regardless, Ash still wanted to battle the Frontier Brain anyways, and just then, a man came out of the Battle Tower and recognized Ash as the challenger, apparently having heard of him from Scott, implying that Scott had at least been at the Battle Tower once before. And Ash then clarifies to the man that he wished to challenge the Frontier Brain. This led the man to reveal himself as Marin, the referee of the Battle Tower, and he officially permitted Ash and the gang to come inside, and showed Ash and the gang the huge stadium, which was basically just your regular-ass stadium. Then, Marin opened up another door that was automatic, just like the one to enter the Battle Tower, and stated that the Frontier Brain was coming out, and sure enough, she did. And Marin officially introduced the Frontier Brain as the Salon Maiden, Annabelle, much to the surprise of Ash and the gang. And Brock, May, and Max were even forced to sit down in shock on the bench, prepared to watch the battle that was going to go on between Annabelle and Ash. Ash stated that Annabelle should have confirmed that she was the Frontier Brain earlier, leading Annabelle to explain that she was trying to, but Ash left too quickly. Regardless of this, Annabelle respected how much Ash wanted to battle and agreed to battle him. So, the referee, Marin, officially declared that the battle was to begin now, also revealing that it would be a 3-on-3 battle. Brock, May, and Max eagerly watched as both Ash and Annabelle sent out their first Pokemon, with Annabelle sending out her Alakazam and Ash sending out his Corphish. And Corphish started off the battle by using a Crab Hammer, but before the Crab Hammer could make contact, Alakazam used Psychic to lift Corphish up into the air and basically control it, lifting it around and throwing it backwards. However, while Corphish was still suspended in the air by a Psychic, Corphish used a Bubble Beam on Alakazam, but Alakazam countered with Psybeam, causing the Psybeam and Bubble Beam to collide in an explosion, throwing up some smoke, shocking Brock, May, and Max. Ash decides that his best bet would be to use the smoke to his advantage, telling Corphish to sneak up on Alakazam and try and attack it right when the smoke cleared. However, what Ash didn't know was that Annabelle was in sync with her Alakazam, having the ability to telepathically command attacks to Alakazam without having to speak. And specifically, this time, she ordered Alakazam to attack Corphish the second that he saw it. Sure enough, Annabelle's telepathic powers worked, as Alakazam was able to trudge through the smoke, sensing Corphish's presence, and attacked Corphish with a focus punch, throwing Corphish backwards, knocking him down. Ash and Brock were the first of the gang to realize Annabelle's telepathic abilities, with Brock also pointing out to Ash that he would have to battle Annabelle without knowing her strategy, because she could essentially just tell Alakazam to attack so telepathically without having to say it aloud, so Ash would know how to counter any incoming attacks. He would basically be caught by surprise by any attack. Regardless, while Ash and the gang had been talking, Annabelle and Alakazam had come up with a new strategy, as Ash told Corphish to use a crab hammer, but Alakazam was expecting this, dodging the attack before striking Corphish with a focus punch attack, which sends Corphish flying up into the air. Annabelle has Alakazam take advantage of this by jumping up into the air and meeting up with Corphish, using a Psybeam to send Corphish falling down to the ground and rendering it unable to battle, which Marin officially declared, meaning that the score was now 1-0 with Annabelle in the lead, much to Ash and the gang's shock at Alakazam's pure power. Ash tried his best not to panic though, as he recalled Corphish and sent out his second Pokemon, much to Brock, May, and Max's shock, as it wasn't a Pokemon that Ash had on his team for a long time. He had sent back his Heracross to Oak's lab a long time ago by this point, but he had gotten one of his 30 Tauros back from Oak's lab off screen at some point, and Tauros was going to be Ash's second Pokemon. Anyways, Ash started off the next round, which was Tauros versus Alakazam, with Tauros stampeding towards Alakazam using a takedown. But Annabelle continues to telepathically communicate with Alakazam, telling it to use a psychic attack, and this lifts Tauros up into the air, stopping the takedown, and then Alakazam drops Tauros back down hard, leaving Brock, May, and Max even more shocked by Alakazam's power, as Alakazam followed up with a focus punch. So Tauros, before the focus punch would hit, got back up and charged towards Alakazam with a second takedown. But Alakazam quickly dodged this attack, quickly maneuvering to the side, and hit Tauros with a focus punch, punching it up into the air. Alakazam then finishes off the round by doing exactly what it did to Corphish. It proceeded to hit Tauros while it was up in the air with a Psybeam attack, sending Tauros crashing to the ground, defeated, much to Ash and Pikachu and Maymax and Brock's shock, as Marin officially declared Tauros unable to battle. So Ash was down to his last Pokemon, while Annabelle was still on her first. Things were not looking good for Ash at all. Ash then sends out Pikachu as his final Pokemon, realizing that maybe if he and Pikachu had such a strong bond, then they could potentially counteract Annabelle and Alakazam's telepathy. Pikachu then went in for the first attack, landing a Thunderbolt on Alakazam, but Alakazam just took the damage, not doing anything, as Annabelle telepathically told it to use Recover, and it recovered, regaining its health. Though not fully, that would take a little while. Ash realized that if he wanted to stand a chance against Alakazam, then he would have to defeat it before it could fully recover. Just then, Scott arrived and sat on the bench with Maymax and Brock to watch the match, wondering how it would go. Brock, Max, and May were shocked to see Scott finally join them, although Scott didn't say much about where he had been. Anyways, Alakazam was trying to recover, making Brock, May, and Max worry that Alakazam would be able to recover, and Scott just watched, wishing that he'd been able to see the battle up until this point. Like, basically, he wanted to see the whole thing, not just right now. Ash and Pikachu try and stop the recover by using an Iron Tail, but Alakazam matched the Iron Tail with a Focus Punch, sending both Alakazam and Pikachu flying back a little bit, and essentially resulting in neither Pokemon taking that much damage, since they both damaged each other. Scott observed that Annabelle had used telepathic techniques to order the Focus Punch, just as he had heard from other people who challenged Annabelle. Anyways, Ash decided to have Pikachu use a Thunderbolt now, but Annabelle telepathically told Alakazam to use a Psybeam, and the Psybeam overpowered the Thunderbolt, causing Pikachu to become confused. Ash tried to ignore the confused state that Pikachu was in, as he told Pikachu to try using a Volt Tackle on Alakazam, but since Pikachu was so confused, it started to go in the wrong direction, charging right for a wall. So Ash dives into Pikachu's path to cushion Pikachu's impact with the wall. Since he really cared about Pikachu, he didn't even care that he got hurt a little bit when he collided into the wall, because he protected Pikachu. Brock, May, Max, and Scott were shocked by Ash's ballsy, reckless move, although Ash didn't give a fuck at the fact that he injured himself, since Pikachu had come out of his confusion after running into Ash, and the Volt Tackle had stopped too, but that didn't matter. Pikachu ran up to Ash to make sure he was okay, and Ash confirmed he was fine, so long as Pikachu was good, leaving Annabelle and Scott, Brock, May, and Max to commend Ash on his heroic job of saving Pikachu, even though they all thought it was reckless. Anyways, now that Pikachu was no longer confused, it could continue battling, so Ash told it to use a proper Thunderbolt attack, but Alakazam countered it again by using a Psybeam attack. Both Ash and Annabelle wanted to end the battle as soon as possible, so Ash told Pikachu to use Thunderbolt at full power, and Annabelle did the same to Alakazam telepathically, but Pikachu's Thunderbolt actually managed to overpower the Psybeam, resulting in a huge explosion as smoke got thrown up all over the stadium. When the smoke cleared, it was revealed that Alakazam had actually been defeated. So Marin declared that Alakazam was unable to battle, and the score was now 2-1, with Annabelle still in the lead, but Ash making a comeback. Annabelle called Alakazam back and congratulated Ash on his first victory, as she sent out her second Pokemon, a Metagross. Of course she had a pseudo-legend. As May, Scott, Max, and Brock commented on how cool Annabelle having a pseudo-legend was, Ash and Pikachu remarked their eagerness to continue battling and their excitement to battle a pseudo-legend, as Ash and Pikachu start off the battle with a Thunderbolt, but Metagross used a Psychic attack to redirect the Thunderbolt back to Pikachu, causing Pikachu to crash into the ground after getting hit with its own Thunderbolt. Pikachu got back up quick though, and zoomed forward with a quick attack that made contact with Metagross. Brock, Scott, May, and Max had all came to the conclusion by this point, though, that Annabelle could not only speak telepathically with her Alakazam, but also her Metagross. And while speaking telepathically with her Metagross, she must have ordered it to use an Iron Defense, because Metagross took no damage from Pikachu's quick attack, and then, while Pikachu was still making contact with it, it followed up with a Meteor Mash, which was Metagross's most powerful attack. So powerful, Pikachu was sent flying back, and May, Max, Brock, and Scott were all shocked by the pure power of the attack. Pikachu managed to get back up, though, still able to fight, after Ash encouraged it a little. Pikachu was undeniably tired as fuck, though, so when Ash told it to start using Volt Tackle, before Pikachu could even charge up any electricity, Metagross fired off a powerful Hyper Beam, landing a direct hit on Pikachu, defeating it in a huge explosion. At first, Brock, May, Max, Scott, and even Ash had hope that Pikachu had survived the attack, but Annabelle and Metagross knew that Pikachu hadn't, and when the smoke cleared, this was confirmed, as Marin officially declared Pikachu unable to battle, meaning that since Ash had lost all three of his Pokemon, while Annabelle had only lost one, Ash actually lost his Battle Tower match, and Marin officially declared Salon made Annabelle the victor of the battle, which she very much appreciated. Ash, Brock, May, and Max, and Scott, on the other hand, were immensely shocked that Ash had actually been defeated. Yeah, that's right, Ash. I guess plot armor doesn't get you that far after all now. Damn. Maybe we actually have some character growth in coming next episode.